Welcome back to The Price of Business. I continue my discussion with George Gilder, one of the great thinkers of our time, quoted more often by Ronald Reagan than any other living author when Ronald Reagan was not only president, but much of his life afterward. Just delighted to have him on my program. It's one of my rare pinch myself moments because I get desensitized about getting to talk to great people, George Gilder, but you're head and shoulders above most. Delighted to have you on.
Well, thank you so much. I'm embarrassed to hear you speak, but anyway.
Well, you're doing a darn good job under embarrassment. Talk a little bit about that. I'm going to digress a little bit on some other things that you've done that I absolutely love, including Men in Marriage. Incredibly, like a V8 moment. I popped myself in the forehead when I read that. Originally published as Sexual Suicide. Would you think with our culture today, Sexual Suicide would have been a mega hit? It didn't become a hit until you changed it to Men in Marriage. What about that?
Well, Men in Marriage, I was told that Sexual Suicide offended all the conservatives who might have bought it. So we changed the title to Men in Marriage, and Men in Marriage is still in print, and I got a royalty check yesterday for it. It's been an amazing success, and it predicted that if to the extent that the family broke down, we would have to have a welfare state to take care of the women and children and a police state to take care of the boys.
That's right.
And now that we have a third of all black young men in jail or on the lam or on probation, we have indeed created a police state to take care of the boys. This whole idea that single women can raise boys is really quixotic. It can happen, but overwhelmingly, a society that depends on single women to raise boys is going to be threatened by gangs and disruption, and will fail to socialize its young men and make them into productive citizens.
Every religious leader, every warden in every prison, every leader in law enforcement, every social worker, anyone who's got a tactical relationship at all with young people, both men and women, because part of this culture, as you know, George, if you don't mind me calling you George, part of this culture is young women or moms teaching their daughters how they can get by without the men. We need everyone who's involved with interacting with all of these people to understand the implications of what it's like to have young men raised without a father.
Yep.
Incredible book, Men in Marriage, another great book you need to read. What was your favorite book of all your books that you've written?
Oh, I think Knowledge and Power now. It really sums up all my career. It really does. It's a consummation of the various themes of my previous books.
I don't know.
It joins I wrote about 10 books about technology and several books about economics, and this converges those two themes and adds a social theme.
Yeah, well, you know what, and the reason why I laughed is because it reminds me what several great actors have said before. My favorite movie is the one they're doing right now.
Yeah.
But your book, I think your book is significant. I would love to see you do a book about how the United States needs to be more competitive when it comes to its tax code, because now the earth is flat. The world is flat. Like Thomas Friedman has said, we have got to compete on every single level. And now more than ever, capital can move at a rapid pace.
Yeah, that's and Knowledge and Power makes those points about the need to flatten the tax structure.
Yeah, absolutely. No question about it. It sounds like, again, and I told you I only got it on Friday, so I've only begun through it, so I feel a little ignorant here. But, I noticed in a couple of the reviews that you kind of focus negatively on libertarian thought when it comes to this issue.
No, that's wrong.
Okay, talk to me about that.
This book just won the Freedom Fest Award for the best libertarian book of the year.
There you go.
The Leonard Reed Trophy for the best libertarian book of the year. It founds libertarian economics in the intrinsic nature of information. Information, as defined by Claude Shannon, the author of Information Theory, is ultimately defined as freedom of choice. And so at the heart of the economy is creativity, and the definition of information that it accommodates is freedom of choice. So libertarian thought has deeper and more established foundations than it did before I wrote Knowledge and Power.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't believe in anarchy. I don't think that
no.
anarchy generates stability or equilibrium, as some libertarians imply. You need sound families, sound money, sound rule of law. You need political leadership.
Yes.
To enforce those low surprise carriers that bear the creative bonanzas of free capitalism.
Well, I'm glad you corrected it again. I think everything I've read by you has always seemed very based on the idea of classical liberalism, small L libertarianism, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
And so I would have been shocked if that was true, and I had only begun to get into it. Read some other writers that I respected who kind of took that approach, and to me that seems so contrary, and I appreciate you addressing it. And I like to say I'm a big believer in strong government, very small government, but what it does, it needs to do with strength and might in order to maintain the order in the areas it's supposed to maintain order.
Absolutely, and that's what Knowledge and Power does. That's really, you've summed up the theme. You got to have stable, predictable business environment in order to accommodate the surprising inventions and creations of entrepreneurs. Which derive from the accumulation of knowledge. You know, physics asserts that material is conserved. You don't make any more of it. But knowledge grows, and all the wealth creation in our economy ultimately derives from increments of knowledge. And all the transactions in the economy, as Thomas Sowell wrote way back in 1970 or whatever it was, in Knowledge and Decisions, that all transactions are exchanges of knowledge. This is not an incentive system, chiefly capitalism. It's not a matter of carrots and sticks where you manipulate people's greed. It's falsifiable experiments, experiments of business that yield new knowledge that's transmuted into new wealth.
You know, it's funny, when I was reading your book, I thought a lot about Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, which the Constitution only has like 17 specific powers. And they look kind of, why would they talk about standard weights and measures? Well, standard weights and measures are absolutely huge in knowledge and decisions of a legitimate role of government. Or patents, in order to protect people for the knowledge discovery that they have. The Constitution is a very eloquent document reinforcing the validity, I think, of your arguments.
And that's right. And the Constitution did not emerge from anarchy. It emerged from brilliant leadership of a wonderful generation of political geniuses early in our history.
Yeah, no question about it. No question about it. It's extraordinary. And again, we're very fortunate to have someone like George Gilder still promoting that kind of common sense in the 21st century. I think it's phenomenal. So tell us a little bit about the low entropy requirement for government, which seems to be very contrary to the way governments on all levels operate today, except for maybe in my great state of Texas. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, Shannon calls surprise and freedom of choice entropy, and this is largely a mathematical concept. It happens that the information entropy has the same equation as thermodynamic entropy, which is the accumulation of unavailability of energy as temperatures equalize.
Right. The quality of energy may decline, even though it's still a certain amount.
But the actual definition of it, of unavailable energy, is the relative improbability of the arrangement of the molecules. But anyway, not to go into the details of the science, which are explained in Knowledge and Power.
Yep.
a low entropy carrier that's no surprises or is necessary to bear high entropy information. That's creative information, and you can understand it when you think that all information in the economy tends to migrate to the electromagnetic spectrum. That's the carrier that everybody uses for both wireless and wireline communications over fiber optic lines. It's light, but really the electromagnetic signals in your smartphone are also forms of light at lower frequencies, but they're all guaranteed by the speed of light, and thus you can always differentiate the signal from the carrier at the other end. The carrier doesn't change. It's guaranteed by the speed of light. And the carrier of our economy can't change either. It has to be guaranteed by the rule of law, the stability of contracts, the reliability of money, the stability of families that orient the economy toward future generations and favor long-term commitments. All these low-entropy carriers are necessary to bear the creative inventions of capitalism.
That's right. So that's why you have to have a low-entropy government.
Yeah, you need a low-entropy government, right?
Yeah.
Not a government that's constantly changing the rules and generating new rules and reinterpreting old rules and intervening with new mandates, and the result of a low-entropy government is to shrink the horizons of the economy.
Wow, that put it very well.
Everything becomes short-term, and short-term finance is now capturing almost a third of GDP, and short-term financial trades and shuffles are the essential result of high-entropy government with gyrating currency values and unpredictable business laws and Dodd-Frank and Sarbanes-Oxley, which have almost eliminated initial public offerings and sicklied over our venture capital community with a pale cast of green goo as our venture capitalists. Our venture capitalists are becoming climate cranks and weather bores.
That's
They're
right.
all seeking to appease the EPA and create perpetual motion machines to produce our energy.
Mr. George Gilder, we ran out of time 4 minutes ago, but I insisted we kept on because you are George Gilder. And I thank you so much for spending time with me. Your book, Knowledge and Power, another great contribution to intellectual thought. I suggest anyone out there with any wisdom who has not read every one of Mr. Gilder's books, that they run out and do it today if they can. Well, it'll take longer than that, but at least get the books and start working on them because they're phenomenal. Is there any particular website you'd like me to direct people to, sir?
Well, www.discovery.org keeps up with my stuff. That's discovery.org.
Yep, that's the Discovery Institute, which I believe you are a senior fellow over there.
Yeah, I was a co-founder of the Discovery Institute, and they do a lot of information theory there. It's their specialty.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Thanks so much for your time.
It's great to be on your show. It really was fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're awesome.
Embarrassing.
Oh, don't be embarrassed. Maybe be humble.
But anyway.
Thank you so much. Great.
I hope to see I'm going to get a copy of this, right?
Oh, absolutely. You bet you will.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
George Gilder, one of the great thinkers of our time, certainly of my time. Again, remember being in college, reading his books, and man, I just profoundly affected, and I'm so delighted I was able to bring him to you here on The Price of Business. You'll also be able to check him out at usdailyreview.com. That's usdailyreview.com. We'll have this interview there. I'm Kevin Price. This is The Price of Business.